It's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for the night, Olympia Scott. As a scholarship student athlete at Stanford University, Olympia was a four-year starter on the women's basketball team from 1994 to 1998. Olympia received many accolades during her college playing days and still holds several individual records, and was most recently inducted into Stanford's Athletic Hall of Fame this past October. In 1998, Olympia graduated with a degree in sociology and was drafted 11th overall to the WNBA. Over her storied 10-year WNBA career, she won 2 team championships in 2005 and 2007. In addition, Olympia enjoyed a successful playing career overseas in several countries that included Spain, Greece, Turkey, Italy, and Russia. A true entrepreneur, Olympia has started 2 companies. She's the co-founder of an online parenting education company, Super Parenting, and the founder of the coaching company called A Wonderful Life Coaching. As if that were not enough, Olympia has also co-authored a book titled Super Parenting, Raising the Next Generation. Wow. Even with her career success, I'm sure Olympia will attest that her biggest accomplishments are her beautiful children and family. Please welcome a wonderful role model, woman, former student athlete, and mother, Olympia Scott.
First, I'd like to thank all of you. Yes, maybe I'll. Thank all of you for being in attendance today. Any event that's supporting female athletes, I am in support of. Considering my own journey started as an athlete. That's what allowed me to see the world and live the life that I have. But more importantly, it's what allowed me to learn the life lessons that I don't think I would have learned any other way, because I had tangible examples of how those lessons were true to form. I'm going to speak to maybe 2 of those lessons. I'm not sure. I kind of go off the off the top of my head. No, honestly, actually, I speak really what I think God has for me to say. He uses me as a messenger, and so I honestly haven't prepared something. I'm just delivering a message that I don't know if it's for all of you, if it's for one of you, but hopefully you'll tune in just in case it is your message that you're supposed to hear. Today, this is my assignment. I'm here because this is my assignment. This is what God has for me to do. And assignment is a very important lesson that I learned through playing basketball. And I'll explain that. Growing up, I was, first of all, always supersized. You know, one of the reasons I probably got my name, other than being born the day of the closing ceremonies at the Montreal Olympics, I was also a big baby. You could imagine, right? You know, I had a good career in high school and in college, and even in the pros. At one point, I was a starter. I was the captain of my team. I was playing, 35, 40 minutes a game. And then the second to last game in 2003, playing overseas in Schio, Italy, I tore my ACL, which, how many people have injuries playing sports? That's commonplace. But for me, I didn't fully recover. The season following the injury, I actually had to get both knees scoped. So I'm saying that to say that my entire role changed on my team. I went from being this athletic player who was explosive, I could dunk, literally, I could dunk the basketball, to someone who had completely lost their confidence because I physically wasn't able to do the same things I could do before. I had lost my confidence to the point where when I was playing for the Sacramento Monarchs, and I haven't even really told that many people this, when I was playing for the Sacramento Monarchs, we used to start our practice with 2 layups. Everybody had to make 2 layups. We all had to make our 2 layups, so that it was maybe 24 layups in a row. We had to make right, and then 24 layups in a row we had to make left. I would get on the bike to warm up because I didn't want to be the person to miss the layup. because my confidence was that depleted. And I'm sure not too many of you know me. The ones who do, I mean, I'm extremely confident. You know, I'm Olympia, right? But I had lost this confidence because my confidence was in my physical ability to do what I was doing for so long. You know, it's a career you start as a child. How many careers, maybe the arts, maybe music or dance, other than sports, how many careers do you start as a child? You know, I started that in the 5th grade. And here I was really physically unable to do my thing. But then I realized something. On my teams, I always thought I was a leader on the team because I was the best player or one of the best. So I was leading the charge. I was leading by example. So I thought that was why my teammates were listening to me. But then I realized, as I was sitting on the end of the bench, because I was no longer my former self, I was still on the team, but I wasn't playing. But my teammates were still listening to me. They were still looking to me for my reaction to things. You know how it is when the coach will say, get on the line, right? The athletes know what I'm saying. They're like, oh, we know get on the line. That's like a death sentence, like, no, we don't want to hear get on the line, right? Well, my teammates would look to me for my reaction. And in those moments, I could have easily been the cancer on the team. I could have been the person, things already weren't going my way. I wasn't happy with my role playing, sitting on the end of the bench. But I thought about it and I said, you know, God has a purpose and a design in everything. So I have a purpose being on this team, even though I'm not playing, even though things aren't going my way, even though I'm having to rehab and work on my physical health, there's still something I'm supposed to be doing here, something meaningful, something purposeful. And so as I realized I still had influence, I started to discover I can still influence the outcome of the situation. Although I'm unhappy, I can still support my teammates and those who are on the court, who are doing their thing. Because I'm either pulling away from the team goal, pulling away from what we're trying to accomplish, or I'm pushing towards that goal, even though personally I may not be happy about how things are going my way. And so I took that on as my charge. I said, you know what? Even though I'm not playing, they're still listening. I am actually getting the opportunity to lead from behind. I'm not getting the credit. Nobody outside of the locker room even knows how influential I am on the team, but my teammates know. My teammates feel my presence, and they know that when they look at me, I'm legitimately supporting the cause because I'm getting nothing other than the team success. I'm not trying to convince them to pass me the ball so we can win because I want my own points. I'm hardly playing. So I have no other agenda other than the team goal. And that was a very important lesson for me because I learned how to lead from behind. A lot of times when you're talking about winning a championship, people are talking about the qualities that it takes to be a winner, to be a champion. And when you talk about sacrifice, you're thinking about sacrificing your body or your time, your energy, all the practice. But sometimes you have to sacrifice your own personal goals. Sometimes it's not about you, you know? Not everybody gets to be the superstar. And in so being that star, that person has pressure too. Having the opportunity to watch from the other side of things. When you're playing, you don't always see what's going on behind you because you're leading the charge. But having a different viewpoint, I was able to see how it's very important that every single person values their role. And that every person values everyone else's role. Because when they say you're only as strong as your weakest link, it's true. And the thing about it is that it's very easy to look at someone else's role and think they have it easy. You know, you may think the star player, oh, she's got it easy. She plays all the time. She always gets the ball. Coach likes her. Coach always plays her. But she also has pressure. She has to perform night in and night out. So how she goes, the team goes, right? That's a difficult position to be in. I've been in both. I've actually played so much basketball, I can probably say with certainty I've been every single possible role on a team. You know, I've been the rookie, I've been the veteran, I've been the new signee, I've been the superstar, I've been at the end of the bench, I've been the new mom, right? I've been all these different roles, and I realized that sometimes we don't value our own role enough. And the teams that value their role individually and collectively, those teams are the ones that thrive. Those are the teams that are successful. And not like, oh, on a fluke, but consistently successful. Coach is always talking about being consistent, right? No? No? Come on, coaches, what are you guys doing in here? You guys aren't talking consistency. No, it's fine. I'm just trying to make sure everybody's awake. I know they're talking consistency. Any coach that coaches, I mean, come on. That's the C in coach, right? Is consistency. You want your team to be consistent. Part of that consistency is that everybody's on the same page. And you have to do that with your role as well. And that can be hard to do. That wasn't easy for me to do. I didn't win my 2 championships until I was the person not playing. But I was still captain of one of those teams. And I was definitely, probably the most influential person in the locker room. Because they believed everything I said. They knew I had no other agenda. Everything I was saying was strictly for the success of the team. And the question is, are you willing to do that? Not just in sports, but sometimes in life. We don't always get credit for everything we do. You don't always get your name in lights. It's good when you do. It's good when you get that pat on the back, when coach acknowledges it, or when your school acknowledges it, or your conference acknowledges it. But when they don't, are you still willing to do that? And when you are, that's when you find true success. That's what real leadership is. Leadership isn't just having your name in lights or getting the credit. Leadership is truly servant leadership. It's service to the group. And that's really what our gifts are for, to serve others. We're not blessed with our gifts just so that we can say, hey, look at me, I'm shining. No, that's not why we've been blessed with our gifts. We've been blessed so that we can serve others. If you think about it, the blessings that we receive, we usually receive them through someone else. The blessing of a good mother, your mother had to give you that blessing. Or of a good sister, or a good father, or a good teammate, or a good coach. These are people giving you these blessings. And so we're the ones on assignment, delivering the blessings to one another, of service to one another. And so that's where I'm just thankful we have an event of this nature so that we may serve the greater good of helping to instill and push female athletics further. Because you think about Title IX, it seems like just yesterday that Title IX was passed, but we still have so much farther to go. We're not done. We have to continue to support female athletics. Not because we want to see women playing sports. We do. But sports is so much more. It's so much more. The life lessons you learn. Now, I mean, you already aged me. You told them when I played, so. But I can now look back and say, you know what? I really learned a lot over the years that I played. And the lessons I learned, I got tangible examples of how those lessons matter. And that's what you're getting right now. It's hard to teach some of these things, but you're getting a chance to learn it. And especially if you're playing a team sport, I implore you, especially I'm talking to the student athletes that are here, this is the only time that you will participate unless you play professionally, unless you coach. And even as a coach, you're on the other side, you're the enemy. Sorry, coaches. I'm joking. No, but really though, this is the only time of your life that you will be in a sisterhood like this. You guys are one. You're on the same team fighting for the same cause. Embrace that. Enjoy that. Because as you get older, you won't have that same connectivity with people. So this is a very special time in your life. And this is also the springboard to whatever else you have in front of you. So I thank everyone, especially those who have committed their time, their energy, their money. So I'm speaking to the coaches, to the donors, the administrators, everyone who has made some type of contribution. This matters. This matters. Women in sports, this matters. And so I thank you all for listening and for having me today and for your contribution. God bless.
We want to make it a little interactive, so if you have any questions, but I first want to say thank you for that great team message and understanding roles, especially as we send off 2 of our teams to play in the conference tournaments this weekend, women's golf and women's tennis. I hope that they can take messages from Olympia's message. I should just stop. Does anybody have any questions for Olympia or anything that they want to inquire about her and her great career that she had and all of the things that she's accomplished? No? Anything? Yeah? Okay, go ahead, Bonnie.
Was it difficult playing overseas with the language? Yeah. That made it difficult?
You know, language, food, street signs, driving, you know, not every country adheres to laws the same way we do, and I'm serious. You know, as far as lane lines may not mean anything, so when I first started going overseas, fewer players spoke English, and it also depended on the country. When I went to Russia, very interestingly, a lot of the players spoke English, but they didn't want to speak English in front of their teammates. But usually there's a translator if they don't speak the language, but you just learn to, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, so you usually pick up some of the language. So it's a combination of charades, and, and basketball is a universal language, so that part was easy. It was the living otherwise that was a little more difficult.
Thanks. Another hand for you. Did you have a question?
What brought you to Sioux Falls, and how long have you been here?
My husband played for the Sioux Falls Storm, and he also coached here at Augie for a season before we had our son, and he now coaches with the Storm and is a program director at a new youth facility, Sequel Transitional Academy. It's out West Farm, really far. So we decided to settle here.
Thank you.
Here with the long winters. Luckily, I lived in Moscow for a year, so I had some preparation.
Any other questions? Play multiple sports
Growing up, I played baseball, not softball, played baseball with the boys, and they called me Blondie. Not because I was blonde, clearly, but I was the only girl in the league, and I ran track also.
How old are your kids?
I have a 15-year-old and a 22-month-old. So, you know, playing basketball, when's a good time to donate your body to the cause, right? So I was fortunate to have my daughter after my rookie year, so she was able to go and live with me in all those different places. And that was one of the reasons for retiring. We wanted to have more kids, and you know, I'm already advanced maternal age, so. My daughter, she played basketball, but this year she tried gymnastics and she runs track. And my son is every bit of a bouncing baby boy, so I'm sure he's going to be an athlete. He's bouncing and climbing, and right now he's apparently a kangaroo, so he jumps everywhere around the house. So I'm thinking he might be a basketball player. He has hops already.
When you were growing up, was the atmosphere somewhat still not so great for girls playing sports, or what was that like there?
You know, I didn't have a girls basketball team in middle school, so I was in drill team and cheerleading. I was world's largest cheerleader. Probably literally, actually. I've been this tall since I was 14, so yeah. But yeah, I've watched it gradually change. Fortunately, you know, Stanford was already on the map as far as women's basketball, so they treated the women's program really almost better than the men's program because we were more at that time, you know, and maybe still more acclaimed than the men's program. So.
From the introduction, we learned that you've written a book about raising children. How did you bring your athletics into that progression?
Well, you know, how I got into that was that my mother has been, she's a college professor, but she's also been a certified parenting instructor for over 20 years. And back when I was playing in Indiana, I had a fan club and I did a family basketball camp where the kids did basketball with me and my mom did a parenting class on, specifically on raising athletes. And, it was a really big hit. We did that for a couple of years. And then we said, you know what? What we were really excited about was the part that parents were interested in learning about raising athletes. And so we wanted to do something more with that. And being the undercover nerd that I am, I said maybe we should do it online because it's hard to get parents to convene with, working and their schedules, their kids' schedules and everything. So we started an online parenting class. So that's kind of how I got brought into the fold, was that I was more of the tech part behind my mom's knowledge. But having participated in it and worked on in teaching it, I've learned a lot, and really I just think it's valuable information. Obviously, we've been raising kids for how many, thousands of years without this type of information, but just knowing the developmental stages of kids and, how to help them progress, it makes things so much easier. So.
Great.
Well, thank you for having me.